stuff all adjusted. It's all extra close. Okay. Good. Top of the day, beautiful people. Top of the day. Fix my bracelet. Fixing my bracelet. Hold on, y'all. Okay. All right, y'all. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Oh, I got a pen. I put my blue one down. Well, just in case I drop it. Hi, beautiful people. Happy Friday. It is March the 4th, 2022. It is day 46 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets and of the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1064. Today, we're going to start in tablet G, the tablet G. Yes, tablet G, Book of Generations and the Birth of Man. Tablet G in the complete Annunaki and Annunaki Bible. And then we're going to start a new chapter. New chapter in my big toe. Chapter 26. The Evolution of Ayo. And that's on page 213. All right, y'all. Linda, shalom, shalom, Jen. Good morning, good morning. Shayla Betwabu, Great Rise, and Belinda Brown, Auntie, shalom, shalom. All right, beautiful people. Oh, y'all, lead us and guide us into all truth today. Give us understanding and wisdom to apply what we learn to our lives. All right, y'all. That's our opening. Let's get going. Oh, no, I don't want to restart. No. Sorry, y'all. I was about to restart. Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry. I had my automatic restart set up and it was about to restart. Okay. All right, y'all. Clean my glasses. Oh, that's better. Yeah, I actually have new glasses. I went and got my annual exam and I got me some new glasses and I put them on and they're lighter. They're like gold. But when I put them on, it seemed like my face is naked. I guess because I'm so used to wearing the dark frames. I've had these for a while. And even when I got new ones, I got some of the same ones. But I was like, let me change it up a little bit. Now, when I go to put them on, I was like, my face seems so naked. So I take them back off. But, I mean, I guess it's cool because my prescription hasn't really changed. My eyes, it seemed, because I haven't gone. I was like, maybe I need to update this. But I went, and it didn't change much. The prescription still seems exactly the same to me. So, I was like, I'm going to keep wearing my black frames till I get comfortable with the new ones I chose. Oh, great Spirit, fill us with your presence so that our spirit becomes one with you. Hallelujah. All right, y'all. Tablet G. Book of Generations and the Birth of Man. So some of this is going to sound familiar because we went through it. Clearly, we're going through Genesis, but even more familiar, a lot of these different little paragraphs from the Book of Enki. It just gives a little bit more, it gives some missing things that the Book of Enki didn't give you. Okay. Here begins the Book of Generations concerning the true and ancient story of the creation of man. According to these most ancient sources existing on the planet, the Annunaki, particularly Enki and Marduk, with the assistance of a birth goddess, the archetype of mother goddess, and we know who that was. That was Ninmah, right? The archetype of mother goddess eased the toils of the Igigi, the watchers, by fashioning a race of slave workers for the fields and mines. Remnants of this lore has become a basis for current controversies over races and bloodlines, but such tendencies remove the seeker even farther from the truth. This religious or holy magic is taken for granted by many classes of supposed New Agers, from naive Gothic teens to soul-souled Masonic rock stars. Okay, so soul-souled is SOUL-SOLD, soul-souled, like you done sold your soul, okay? This religious or holy magic is taken for granted by many classes of supposed New Agers, from naive Gothic teens to soul-souled Masonic rock stars. Lore from these ancient tablets reveal a key point in the creation of man, that neither the Annunaki, Enki, Marduk, Enlil, or even Anu is necessarily viewed by the actual Anunnaki and Igigi beings as God or gods, in the sense that contemporary historians have incorrectly interpreted global mythologies. Something exists, and when it says something, it says some dash with thing in apostrophes, right? Quotation marks. Something exists outside of the dimensions inhabited by these beings, and yet the ancient world collaborators on the belief that these specific intermediaries or emissaries are the ones responsible not only for the existence of humans, but also a feud over our caretaking during the deluge. Because remember, even though the Anunnaki, the different groups of them were worshipped as gods, and as time developed, people just completely worshiped them, just changing their names. Even the Anunnaki, when we was reading through the Lost Book of Enki, they recognized that there was a creator who created them, the creator of all. They called him, her, it's the great all, the main source, all. And they even recognized that that source was there and it was not them. They were not the source of creation, right? Lore from these ancient tablets reveal a key point in the creation of man, that neither the Anunnaki, Enki, Marduk, Enlil, or even Anu is necessarily viewed by the actual Anunnaki and Igigi beings as God or gods, in the sense that the contemporary historians have incorrectly interpreted global mythologies. Something exists outside of the dimensions inhabited by these beings, and yet the ancient world collaborates on the belief that these specific intermediaries or emissaries are the ones responsible not only for the existence of humans, but also a feud over our caretaking during the deluge. Uncle Nathaniel, greetings. So remember that when we was reading the book of the Lost Book of Enki, remember that one guy, I forgot his name already, but he came to Enki. He was telling him about the deluge, and he thought the guy was sent from Nibiru. But when he related the message, and even when it was Enki first, and then it was Enlil. No, Enlil? Yeah. Hold on. What's his brother name? Yeah. Enki first, the emissary, the guy showed up. I forgot his name, but he told him let Noah or Ningishita know about, is that his name? I think I got it mixed up. Noah. Who was Noah's name? But anyway, let Noah know that this about to happen, help him to save himself, right? And he thought there was somebody coming from Nibiru, but when they told and knew about it, he said, no, nobody. How you describe that person sounds familiar, but he definitely doesn't live on Nibiru. That he comes from another galaxy, what they were saying. And the same thing before they finally left all together, when Enlil had that dream, that same particular dude showed up, and then they finally realized, okay, you're not from Nibiru, you must be sent from the creator, right? Okay, so that guy right there, I forget his name. I got to go back to the book to get his name. Lore from these ancient tablets reveal a key point in the creation of man. I'm going all the way back. Let me go down. Enlil, who is revered as Jehovah in Enlil-like territories, the biblical Holy Lands, is actually displeased with human creation from the start and also any salvation for the race through the deluge. It is Enki who appears as man's saving deity, and yet the ludicrous notion of celestial monotheism always attributes positive qualities to a singular god, with the backwash byproducts given to a devil figure. Consequently, what is actually initiated as discord among a holy family funneled down to modern minds as good versus evil. Let me read that again. Listen. Let me read this whole paragraph again. Enlil, who is revered as Jehovah in Enlil-like territories, and we fight over that name today. We don't remember Jehovah, Yah. It's the same being, right? Enlil, who is revered as Jehovah in Enlil-like territories, or Enlil-like is also the original name for Israelite. Enlil, who is revealed as Jehovah in Enlil-like territories, the biblical Holy Lands, is actually displeased with human creation from the start and also any salvation for the race through the deluge. It is Enki who appears as man's saving deity, and yet the ludicrous notion of celestial monotheism always attributes positive qualities to a singular god, with the backwash byproducts given to a devil figure. Consequently, what was actually initiated as discord among a holy family funneled down to modern minds as good versus evil. The next section is entitled The Creation and Disposal of Man, the Adamu, Adapa, and Atrahasis. On the eve of the great rebellion of the Igigi, the Watchers, Ea, Enki, made ready to speak out, and Enki, they keep putting in brackets Enki, so you won't forget that this is the same person. Ea and Enki is the same person, just like the Watchers and the Igigi, a group of the Annunaki, are the Watchers, what the Bible, the book of Enoch, calls the Watchers, right? Or the sons of God. It's the Igigi. On the eve of the great rebellion of the Igigi Watchers, Ea, Enki, made ready to speak out, and Ea, Enki, said to the Annunaki, his brothers, "What can we really say about their claims? Their forced labor has been heavy, and their misery is too much. Every day the younger gods, Igigi, toil endlessly, and the outcry has been made. We could all hear the clamor. There is another way, the fashioning of a primitive worker. Lulu Amelu, Ningharsag, Mami, the midwife of the Anunnaki, is present. Come, let us ask her to create a human, a man in our likeness, and let him bear the endless toils. Let him bear the slave labor. Let the humans assume the drudgery of the gods." Together, they summoned and asked the birth goddess, the midwife of the Anunnaki, wise Mami, "Will you be the birth goddess for the creatures of mankind? If you create the human being, that he can bear the toil of the gods, let him bear the work and tasks of Enlil, Enki in some versions, and let man assume the drudgery of the gods." The Lady of Life, Ninharsag, Mami, now called Ninti, Mami, the creator of life, the giver of life, hence moms. I'm a mom, Mami. That's crazy. They spell it a little different. Some places they spell it just like this, Mammi, the Lady of Life. The Lady of Life, Ninharsag, Mami, now called Ninti, made reply to the assembly of Anunnaki. "The task is not for me, but for Enki. It is Enki who commands the purification of the waters of life. If Enki will provide for me the clay, then I will make the creation." Enki listened and made ready his reply in the assembly of the Anunnaki. "On the 1st, 7th, and 15th days of the month, I will establish the purification bath. First, let one god be sacrificed and the rest cleansed by baptism. Let Ninti mix the clay with his, the sacrifice gods, flesh and blood, and let us hear the sound of drums for the rest of the time. From the flesh of the God, let a spirit remain until the end of days. And let it be known to the living gods by the sign mark, or else he will be allowed to be forgotten. So let the spirit remain. From the great assembly of the Annunaki was heard a unanimous yes. On the 1st, 7th, and 15th days of the month, Enki established the purification bath. They bled the god Melu before the assembly of the Annunaki. Ninti mixed the clay with flesh and blood of Melu, Awmelu, Melu. Yeah. That same god and man were thoroughly mixed in clay. The Adamu they sought to bestow the face of the gods. To the Adamu they sought to bestow the face of the gods. For the remainder of the period they heard the drum beat. From the flesh of the god the spirit remained to the end of days. It was made known to the living gods by the sign marked, without which he be allowed to be forgotten. So the spirit remained. And after she had mixed the clay, she summoned forth the great Anunnaki gods and the Igigi watchers, who each in turn spat upon the clay. That sounds familiar. Mami, changed from Nintu now, spoke before the gods. You have ordered me a task, and I have completed it. You have sacrificed the god and his divine spark, and I have done away with your heavy slave labor, whereby I have imposed the drudgery of the gods on man. You have bestowed troubles upon mankind for all eternity. I have released the yoke from you and given it to my creation. I have made restoration of the peace among the gods. When they heard her speak these words, they ran carefree to her side and kissed her feet, saying, Formerly we have given you the name Mami, Mother of Gods, but now let your name be Mistress of all the gods. When mankind came forth, it knew nothing of eating bread, knew nothing of dressing in garments. They ate plants with the beasts of the field and drank in water holes used by animals. He became possessed with intelligence, but grew wild, hybrid, part man, part god in nature, unable to reproduce alone. Ningish Zeta, Marduk in some versions. Okay, so it wasn't Ningish Zeta, it was the other name for Noah. I forget. I gotta go back and look. Okay. Ningish Zeta, Marduk in some versions, came forthright. 2 branches were added to man's tree of life. The tortuous serpent therein residing, and a perfect Adamu had come forth, and the Adamu proliferated on the earth. For 7 cycles they were forced to work in the Abzu before Enki created the Edaphic line by Adapa. Taking the role of Anu upon himself, Enki did procreate with an earthling female, not Damkina the goddess, but with an earthling female did Enki cause a child to be born, Adapa. So remember when him and his right-hand man went out to go search the lands and they saw them 2 naked earthling women. He said, man, should I? He said, look, ain't nobody gonna know, bro. And then found out that she got pregnant and the child that was born was Moses in biblical scriptures, right? And when he got of age, they went and got him and said, when you bring him here, let them know that you found him in a reed basket in the water. I'm like, yeah, they definitely talking about Moses, right? Okay. Taking the role of Anu upon himself, Enki did procreate with an earthling female, not Damkina, the goddess, but with an earthling female did Enki cause a child to be born, Adapa. Enki gave to him a wide ear to be granted wisdom. The secrets of Anu, Enlil, and Enki did he pass on to Adapa. He gave him the divine tablet, but he did not grant him eternal life. Adapa was raised in those days as a wise man in Eridu. Enki had created him to be the chief among men, the wisest of men whose command none could oppose. Very prudent and wise, with the knowledge of the Anunnaki was he, without blame, with hands who had not toiled, an anointed one, shown the secrets of the oil and water, the means of observing the divine statutes was shown to Adapa. With the bakers of Eridu he baked bread. The food and water for Eridu he helped prepare daily, and with his pure hands he prepared the table, and without him the table was not cleared. To sail he was taught, and fishing and hunting for Eridu he did well. Attending to Enki, servant of the king, in his chamber upon the bed. At the end of each day, the closing preparations of Eridu he attended to. Upon the pure new moon, Adapa had set his ship upon the journey, but the winds were blowing when his ship departed the shore. Taking the oar, he navigated his ship upon the broad sea. Taking the oar, he navigated his ship upon the broad sea, and the wings of the south wind beat against the air so badly, he had been driven back to the house of Enki and said, South wind, on the way across the sea, you beat your wings, and I shall set a curse against everything that opposes my journey. Your wing I will break. He spoke the words. The wing of the south wind was broken. For 7 days the south wind did not blow upon the land. Anu called forth his messenger and asked, Why has the south wind not blown upon the land for 7 days? His messenger answered him, My lord, Anu, Adapa, and the son of Enki, he has broken the wing of the south wind. When Anu heard these words, he yelled, What? 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 Anu ascended from his throne before the assembly of the Anunnaki. I command that someone bring him here before me for inspection. Adapa, more intelligent than Adamu, was roused. Adapa, king of all men, Enki roused from sleep. Enki was wise with the ways of heaven and earth, and Enki sought to prepare Adapa for the journey. With vestments of mourning, Adapa was clothed. With wisdom of heaven, Enki imparted knowledge to Adapa. My son, you have been commanded to go to heaven, to stand before the face of Anu in the assembly of the Anunnaki. When you raise upon the plain, you will approach the gate of Anu. The gate of Anu is guarded by Tammuz and Ningish Zeta. When they see you, they will ask you who you are and why you are there. They will ask you why you wear the vestments of mourning, for which you will reply that 2 gods have vanished from your country. And when they ask what 2 gods, who in the land has vanished, give them the names, Tammuz and Ningish Zeta. They will look at one another bewildered and astonished. They will speak to Anu of your arrival and show you the way to him. Food of death they will set before you in the assembly of the Anunnaki. Do not eat it, for to eat it with the gods is to die. And so remember, we knew that he would not have died. It would actually have given him eternal life. But he said when he created him through the earthling female by having sex with her, that was the only thing he didn't want to give to him. Otherwise, it would make him just like Anunnaki and he would live forever, right? So that's why he told him that's the only thing he lied to him about, pretty much. Well, yeah, let's just say that's the only thing he lied to him about. Don't eat the food. It is poison for you, but it really wasn't. It was really life for him, right? And it would all the way take him to be in the status of Anunnaki, or what we call angels, right? Okay. They will speak to Anu of your arrival and show you the way to him. Food of death they will set before you in the assembly of the Anunnaki. Do not eat it, for to eat with the gods is to die. Water of death they will set before you in the assembly of the Anunnaki. Do not drink it, for to drink with the gods is to die. The vestments they set before you, dress yourself in them. The oil they set before you, anoint yourself with it. This is the counsel I would give to you, child of Enki. Forget nothing. In a short time, the messenger of Anu came to the house of Enki. Adapa has broken the wing of the south wind. Anu commands that he be brought forth before him in heaven. The road to heaven was shown to Adapa, and to heaven he was raised. Everybody, clearly we know by now that heaven is Nibiru, right? Okay, if y'all didn't get it before, heaven is Nibiru, according to the ancient scrolls, all right? So people talking about going to heaven, but then they talk about Nibiru. My G, they wanting the same thing. Where you gonna go? Clearly let me not start, okay. The road to heaven was shown to Adapa, and to heaven he was raised. When he came to heaven and approached the gate of Anu, the gate of Anu was guarded by Tammuz and Ningish Zeta. When they saw Adapa approach, they cried, "Who are you that approaches, sir, Adapa? For whom are you wearing the vestments of mourning?" And Adapa responded, "In my country 2 gods have vanished. Therefore I am dressed in the vestments of mourning." And the gatekeepers asked, "Who are the 2 gods who have vanished from your land?" And Adapa responded, "Tammuz and Ningish Zeta, my lords." The gatekeepers looked at one another, bewildered and astonished. When Adapa was brought forth before Anu in the assembly of the Annunaki, Anu, king of the gods, drew Adapa near to him, asking, "Why have you broken the wings of the south wind?" With grace and modesty, Adapa answered Anu, "My lord, I left the house of Enki to travel by boat across the sea. I sought to catch fish in the sea that shines like a mirror, but the south wind blew and capsized my ship, and so I was driven to return to the house of Enki with anger in my heart." Anu listened patiently. Tammuz and Ningish Zeta stirred anxiously. But how was it that he was able to command water and sky? How is it that he is able to disturb our workings? Who is this man-child of Enki? They murmured among themselves. Anu looked upon Adapa and was silent. The assembly of the Annunaki questioned one another. Why has Enki revealed the secrets of heaven and earth to the impure, primitive workers? What new breed of heart Enki has created within him? What new breed of mind has Enki trained? Has this creature a name? Surely it was not of the Adamu. What are we supposed to do with him? Anu called forth for the food of life to be brought before him. Anu called forth the waters of life to be brought before him. The food of life was brought forth. Adapa did not eat. The waters of life were brought forth. Adapa did not drink. Anu looked upon Adapa and was silent, contemplative. The vestments were brought forth. Adapa clothed himself. The oil was brought forth. Adapa anointed himself. Anu looked upon Adapa and invited, "Come now, Adapa, you have not eaten or drunk anything. We have offered you the food of life and the water of life, when to others we would offer a banquet of death. If you do not feast with us, you will not gain eternal life, and you will not be a god. You will live a short life." Adapa bowed to the king of the gods, Anu. "I seek not to displease my king. It is my lord Enki who has commanded me not to eat or drink." Anu smiled, commanding that Adapa be taken back to earth. Anu looked upon Adapa and was silent, contemplative. Of the generations of Adapa on earth, Adapa and Titi, Tiamat in some versions, came first. Cain and Abel were the second generation. Marduk instructed Abel in shepherding. Ninurta instructed Cain in agriculture. Cain killed Abel and was exiled. Other descendants of Adapa and Titi proliferated in time. So the ones who we see in the story of Adam and Eve, in the more ancient scrolls, it's Adapa and Titi, right? Or like they say, or Tiamat in some versions. Then from them came Cain and Abel. Amanda, shalom, shalom. Trina, hey girl, hey. Okay. Let me go back. Of the generations of Adapa on earth, Adapa and Titi, Tiamat in some versions, came first. Cain and Abel were the second generation. Oh, but also remember, before they even got to Adapa, when they was going through trying to create the perfect specimen in their likeness and in their image. Remember all the ones that came first that were not suitable, right? They had all kinds of different things going wrong with them. But the perfected one, they start at the one that was absolutely perfect is where they start giving the genealogies. Okay. Of the generations of Adapa on earth, Adapa and Titi, Tiamat in some versions, came first. Cain and Abel were the second generation. Marduk instructed Abel in shepherding. Then Nursa instructed Cain in agriculture. Cain killed Abel and was exiled. Other descendants of Adapa and Titi proliferated in time. Sati and Azura were of the third generation. Enshi and Nahum were of the fourth generation. Kunin and Mualit were of the fifth generation. Malulu and Dana were of the sixth generation. Irid and Baraka were of the seventh generation, who bore Enki Me, mother of Sarpanet. Remember, was it Enki Me? Who bore Enki Me? Yeah, Enki Me was Enoch. I think I got that right. Was it Enki Me who was Enoch? They almost had the same name. But when we went through, I think it was Enki Me, as it was given a description of what he was doing and all the wisdom he had learned, and everywhere they had took him and traveled. Based on the stuff, it sounded a lot like the book of Enoch. They just changed the name. If I'm not mistaken, I think Enki Me was Enoch. I'm almost certain. I got to double check the names, y'all. I'm still trying to get the names together. Marduk took the earthling woman Sarpanet as wife. Marduk and Sarpanet produced Nabu, and it's a reference for 41 for Nabu. Nabu transliterated as Nebo in some Semitic translations. So you will see Nebo or Nabi, depending on which version of scriptures and in the Apocrypha that you're reading. You should be familiar with that name or that term, right? And nowadays, matter of fact, if you do enough tracking back, you will see that the Nabu was the first prophet, right? Which is why the prophets now have the name Nabi, right? Okay, just got to go back a little bit further to see. Okay. Marduk took the earthling woman Sarpanet as a wife. Marduk and Sarpanet produced Nabu. Enki and Enlil frowned. No mere female is Sarpanet, defended Marduk. By Adapa, who is the son of Enki on earth, is Sarpanet descended. Any rights of kingship in heaven would be removed from Marduk. To take an earthling as a spouse, forbidden to the gods it was. To breed with, Enki and Enlil both had become guilty in time. To take as wives, the Ijiji watchers sought too. The Ijiji watched the daughters of men, The Ijiji watched the daughters of men and saw they were beautiful. 200 of the Ijiji descended, and they give reference 42. 200 listed as 100 or 300 in some versions. Also, percentages are often listed as 1/3 or 2/3 of the Ijiji, meaning the watchers or the angels. So, in Genesis chapter 6, were the sons of God. The sons of God, there is the Ijiji or the watchers, like the book of Enoch says. But the book of Enoch gives you a little bit more detail from that one little sentence that Genesis 6 gives you, going into detail. But from that detail that the book of Enoch gives you, you can tell that it is the Ijiji that the book of Enoch is talking about, that came down, who were the sons of men, that saw the beautiful women, who were the sons of men, and had sex with them and began to proliferate with them and had children by them. So all of these have connecting pieces, right? Okay. The Ijiji watched the daughters of men and saw they were beautiful. 200 of the Ijiji descended. Enlil spoke with anger. Are we to create a new race of gods to rival against us? Bad enough did we bestow upon the primitive worker the godly secrets. Easily did we give away the heart of heaven and earth to Adapa, summoned the Lord of the good tree. Let him accelerate the growth of the tree of life in man. Let mankind's years be fixed at 120, and let none ever partake of the feast of the gods. Let's see where we at. Okay, we can finish this. We almost done. I was checking the time because we're at the 30-minute mark. Well, 34 to be exact. The population of mankind increased in generations until such time their calamities were disturbing the Anunnaki. The gods of the day learned of a horrific natural disaster pending. The destroyer had arrived, and the disturbance on earth would be great. Igigi and Annunaki allowed mankind to perish unwarned. Enki had given his blood to a line of men and found he could not be so harsh. Marduk had given his blood to a line of men and could not be harsh. To the final descents in their line, they sent a dream. To the mind of Atrasis, Enki filled with a warning dream. To the mind of Atrasis, Marduk filled with special instructions. To Atrahasis, they revealed that Enlil acted with hate. Enlil, father of the people, wished them dead. So here in this version, Atrahasis is Noah. I got in my book, I took it upstairs. I gotta get the name, y'all. Hold on. I gotta get the name of Noah. It wasn't Ningasita, Atrahasis, but it was the other name. I keep forgetting. Okay. The Atrahasis. I'm looking. I'm wondering because it has Atrahasis twice, then it has Atrahasis. It adds an H. So I'm wondering if it's still the same person and they just changed the spelling and pronunciation of his name, which is what I think it is.
You need another business card.
An updated one.
Mine's cracked. This wallet cracks all mine. Like this one right here is. See that's crack right there? It's
oh, you're talking about bank card.
Bank card. Because
Okay.
the pins when it's in the wallet right here.
Okay, I'll order you a new one. But when I order you a new one, you know they're going to disable that one. Let me know when you're ready for me to do it.
Okay.
All right.
I love you.
All right, love you too, babe. I'll call you in a few.
Okay.
All right.
You know I was about to say that, right?
I knew you was about to say it, babe. To the mind of Atrahasis, Enki filled with a warning dream. To the mind of Atrahasis, Marduk filled with special instructions. To Atrahasis, they revealed that Enlil acted with hate. Enlil, father of the people, wished them dead. Atrahasis received the dream and prayed to Enki, Lord, give me discernment to understand the meaning of the dream. Give me the knowing so that I may be prepared for the consequences. Enki answered the young servant, while you kneel in your bedroom, listen out your window to the words. Pay attention because I cannot speak with you. Do you understand? I am talking to the reed bush outside your window. I am talking to the walls of your shelter, but I cannot speak with you, lest I invite the wrath to my doorstep. By the covenant of the Anunnaki, I have said nothing to you this day. So y'all remember that. He went to tell him, but he said, I ain't talking to you, man. I'm talking to this bush. I'm talking to the walls now. But listen, pay attention to what I'm saying because I can't speak to you directly, right? Okay. And Enki spoke, wall, listen to me. Reed bush, pay attention. Leave your house in your father's land immediately and build a boat. Give up all of your material possessions in order to save your life. Such a boat has never been constructed on earth, and it must be strong. The roof must be like the hull if it is to survive a journey to the great beneath, so that the sun shall not see any of the parts within. The boat you build will be 200 feet tall. The height should be divided in 7 so that it has 6 decks. When the people ask you why you are constructing such a thing, tell them that the God of man, Enlil, hates you all. Enlil has deemed you unfit any longer to reside in the cities or to walk on the surface of the earth, which is commanded by Enlil. So you must now seek refuge in the great beneath. To survive, you will go to the domain of your Lord Enki, and I, Enki, will shower abundances down upon you later. Enki opened the water clock timepiece and filled it. Enki set the water clock on the windowsill, saying, "Remember, I have not said these words to you. In 7 days your time will be up. The deluge will be upon you. Go, make haste." Asis received the command from Enki, and he drew together an assembly of the elders at his gate. Asis spoke to the elders, "My fellow man, my God does not agree with your God, as Enki and Enlil are constantly in discord with one another. They have expelled me from this land for my ailment to Enki. They have expelled me from this land for my alignment to Enki. I cannot live in the city any longer among you, nor will I be allowed to set my feet on the earth of Enlil. I will go to dwell with my God Enki in the great beneath. My lord Enki has commanded me to come to his abode in a boat. The boat was constructed, and then a feast was enjoyed, and all were invited, not knowing that this is their last supper." Yes, it was the ark. Yes, the deluge. Yep, it absolutely was. This was Noah building the ark. The story, the chopped and screwed story that we get in the Bible. Yes, this was Noah building the ark, right? The boat was constructed, and then a feast was enjoyed, and all were invited. 7 days passed for the family of Asis. Marduk installed the tablets. The tablets had been brought on board. Enki installed the memory. The memory had been brought on board. The cattle god had brought the creatures on board. Asis had brought his family on board. So remember when we read in the Lost Book of Enki, and that's one little paragraph left, when they brought them on board, there were actually some full walking around, which you can clearly see, oh yeah, that's a cow, that's a giraffe. There were some who were actually fully grown that they brought on board, but the majority of them were not already born. It was just the life essence of them, like they were in test tubes, so to speak, in our day. They took the different essences from all the different animals that roamed upon the earth, and they put them in whatever container that was, a scientific, however they preserve life essences. It would be like what a scientist would do, taking lab samples and stuff, right? They took samples from all of these and they preserved them in this box. I forget what the box was called, but it was a box that was secured really well, so that's how all of them came on board. But like household pets and animals, they kind of like came on already just fully walking around, like in their full blown fleshly body already. Okay. The boat was constructed, and then a feast was enjoyed, and all were invited. 7 days passed for the family of Asis. Marduk installed the tablets. The tablets had been brought on board. Enki installed the memory. The memory had been brought on board. The cattle god had brought the creatures on board. Asis had brought his family on board. Much celebration was there in the hearts of his family. No peace and no rest was there for Asis. While the others ate and played, he went on top of the ship to wait. Very soon thereafter, the appearance of weather began to change. Adad, the storm god, grew restless in the clouds. Immediately, he called to bring tar and pitch to seal the door. The securing rope had been cut to release the boat, and by the time the door had been bolted, the windstorm had been raised in the sky. The deluge raged forth. The stamping bull of heaven. The deluge raged forth like the stamping bull of heaven. And the bull of heaven is Enlil. And that, my beautiful people, is the end of Tablet G. So tomorrow we'll start in Tablet H, the Book of Headaches and Demonology. That one should be good, right? Oh, that's going to be good. We might not finish that one tomorrow, though. Oh, though we might, because it's Saturday. We might. It's a few pages longer than the last couple tablets. All right, beautiful people. Let's go over here to My Big Toe. Chapter 26. On page 213. All right. The evolution of Ayo Who is that mass consciousness thing, and what can it do? Uncle JB, greetings and salutations. At this point in our exposition, Ayo, remember, everybody remember what Ayo is, but just in case you're new, Ayo is the name. It's absolute unbounded, hold on. Absolute unbounded oneness. I keep forgetting what it is, which we would call the great creator, and some of us still call Yah, right, or Yahuwah. Okay. At this point in our exposition, Ayo is apparently the thing that exists, no space, no time, and its dim awareness interacts primarily with itself in relation to itself, and us being a part of it is relating to itself, right? To be more accurate, Ayo is apparently the only thing that exists that is interactive with or directly relevant to our reality or us. What may or may not exist beyond Ayo is also beyond relevance to us. Thus, for now, we can ignore any hypothetical external supporting environment or conceptualize it as non-interactive void, whether it is or not. What else do we know that can exist outside the bounds of space and time? If you think about it for a moment, you will immediately become dimly aware that thought, mind, consciousness, or spirit are the only things known to us that are not bounded by our time and space. Ayo is primordial consciousness. Could our individual consciousness, as well as the physical universe, be related to or derived from Ayo? Absolutely. Now he's going into a quick aside. A quick glance forward may provide a more solid basis for you to properly structure the concepts that are now popping up in front of you. Sometimes it is easier to make sense out of what you are doing if you can see where it is leading. As this big toe slowly comes into focus over the next 3 sections, you will eventually come to realize that consciousness is the basic medium from which reality is formed, the fundamental non-material material of existence. It will also become apparent that a more structured form of this fundamental primordial consciousness energy can reasonably evolve into an ultra low entropy consciousness that can generate the operative digital mind required to animate and define the content of our larger reality. Consciousness provides the basic organizational energy from which all individuated existence is derived. It provides the self-modifiable form, function, and potential energy the fundamental process of evolution optimizes. Eventually, something analogous to cell specialization evolves within Ayo to create internal dimensions that support various realities populated by individual units of consciousness. The fundamental process derives change at all levels, including the growth opportunities that eventually define individuated consciousness content such as yourself. By the end of section 5, you shall understand how our physical reality, including you, is created, the process by which it operates, and what purpose it serves. You will also better understand the non-physical dynamics underlying your physical existence, as well as the nature of both personal and public reality. I do not want to get too far ahead of my story, lest I tempt you to jump to conclusions that are wrong-headed and in error, even though they might seem obvious at this point in the unraveling. And that's the end of the little aside. Let's be careful not to fall into an anthropomorphic trap. I am not implying that Ayo is or ever becomes conscious or sentient in the same way that a human being is conscious or sentient, right? Like they say that God came down and he became flesh and blood. He said he's not implying that, right? That's what church teaches. Let's be careful not to fall into an anthropomorphic trap. I am not implying that Ayo is or ever becomes conscious or sentient in the same way that a human being is conscious or sentient. I am implying that Ayo is or represents primordial consciousness, an energy form that, like Earth's early carbon-based bioforms, has the potential to evolve awareness. Ayo represents the primordial substance of consciousness itself, not the attribute of being conscious, right? And our flesh is like the attribute of being conscious. Consciousness is the result of evolution offering profitability to a self-organizing complex system of relational digital content. Another way of conceptualization, Ayo is an apparently infinite potential energy. The potential energy of digital consciousness is the potential to self-organize, which is derived from the potential of a digital system to reduce its average entropy through evolution. A system able to lower its entropy through self-organization will eventually host some level of consciousness. Over the next several chapters, we will see how a digital model of a highly aware consciousness can be derived from a single monolithic consciousness system that is driven to ever lower values of average entropy, higher values of usable energy by the requirements of evolutionary profitability. Stick with me, y'all. Some of y'all ears might be on fire right now. Like, what are you even saying? I don't even understand you. You're going to break it down. Just stick in there. What can Ayo do with itself to create the stimulating environment that drives evolution? And how did it figure out how to do this? It figured out how, in the same way those biological cells did. It may take an extremely long time. Dim awareness can be very slow, but under the steady pressure of a relentless evolution, constantly nudging all systems towards greater profitability, progress is eventually made as new possibilities are explored. What could Ayo do that was interesting and challenging and stimulating? It can first create a duality within itself. This versus not this. Hold on. Oh, okay. This versus not this. It can alter its uniformity to create a local disturbance or distortion. Then there exists distorted relative to non-distorted. A duality has been created. It is as if that calm, still ocean you were floating. Okay. It is as if that calm, still ocean you were floating in a few chapters ago to gain an intuitive sense of apparently infinite, absolute, unbounded oneness now has evolved to the point of making a tiny ripple. With lots of practice and some good luck, ripples eventually become waves and whirlpools. Distortions or any other non-uniformity exists only in relation to uniformity. How many different kinds or different types of disturbances can Ayo create relative to its uniformity? Who knows? For our purposes, we only need one. A single localized modification of the uniform state is all that is required to derive ourselves, our physics, and all the rest of our reality, physical and non-physical. So y'all remember the example, he just mentioned the example that he gave a couple chapters ago. But the example was, he said, imagine a still ocean. Perfect day, right? There's nothing, there's no waves, ripples, or anything distorting the actual picture of what's going on. And you can see a clear picture of everything. Even the reflection is clear from the sky to the water. You can see the trees. You can see the perfect images of everything with no distortions, right? And so he was describing what thought and consciousness is. And he said, we can't see clearly because there are a lot of disturbances that are going on that are distorting the picture for us. And what we have to learn how to do is to remove the disturbances, right? And that's meditation is a perfect way to remove the distortions. Religion is a distortion of the bigger picture, right? A lot of the different things in media is distortions of what's truly going on, right? So that was kind of the example. Any small pebble or ripple will cause, if you drop a rock in the water, it'll cause the waves. It'll cause little ripples. And if you try to look at that same reflection or look at the world around you through that water, it distorts everything. So now the trees look wavy. And that was just a small little pebble. But we have big boulders being thrown in. We have tornadoes and hurricanes coming through this lake that was once still, where we could see a clear picture. Now everything is being distorted and everybody is all over the place, don't know what's going on, right? Okay. So that was the example he gave a couple chapters ago. Hold on. Let's see. I'm going to go back up. What could Ayo do? Excuse me. And it's all purposeful as well. Not that the man is against us or people trying to keep us in slavery. Everything is a part of a bigger picture, right? Listen, that's how you have to adjust your thinking to this. Granted, we know people are involved in things and atrocities, but you have to look at the bigger picture. And that's what we're trying to look at, so we can get back to what the original, what the basis is of everything, without all of this, the distortions of everything. Okay. What could Ayo do that was interesting and challenging and stimulating? It can first create a duality within itself, this versus not this. It can alter its uniformity to create a local disturbance or distortion. Then there exists distorted relative to non-distorted. A duality has been created. It is as if that calm, still ocean you were floating in a few chapters ago to gain an intuitive sense of apparently infinite, absolute, unbounded oneness has now evolved to the point of making a tiny ripple. With lots of practice and some good luck, ripples eventually become waves and whirlpools. Distortions or any other non-uniformity exists only in relation to uniformity, like male and female. We can only tell the difference when there is something different from us, right? A duality has been created, male, female, light, dark. But the duality teaches us lessons that most of us are not really familiar with. I mean, we're familiar with, yeah, you're different from me. You're male, I'm a female. And vice versa. Boy, girl, tall, short, right? It's teaching us something, but we just think, oh, this is just a part of life. But it's actually growing us up spiritually if somebody would point it out to you. And then you can kind of get on the school bus, so to speak. Okay. With lots of practice and some good luck, ripples eventually become waves and whirlpools. Distortion or any other non-uniformity exists only in relation to uniformity. How many different kinds or types of disturbances can Ayo create relative to its uniformity? Who knows? For our purposes, we only need one. A single localized modification of the uniform state is all that is required to derive ourselves, our physics, and all the rest of our reality, physical and non-physical. This way, uniform relative to that way, locally non-uniform, is sufficient. Given that Ayo somehow discovers a disturbance or non-uniformity relative to itself, it can return to uniform, then intentionally reestablish the locally disturbed state, then return back to uniform, and so on. It's like you do adjustments, okay? Now you got waves. All right, now let's adjust it back to what it's supposed to be. It's calm, stillness. You get some waves, okay? You see the difference? Now let's adjust it back to calmness, awareness, right? Given that Ayo somehow discovers a disturbance or non-uniformity related to itself, it can return to uniform, then intentionally reestablish the locally disturbed state, then return back to uniform, and so on. We now have the possibility of a regularly recurring event that will eventually evolve into a precisely recurring event. Figures 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3 show 3 examples of a regularly occurring continuous change between non-uniform and uniform states. Okay, I'm gonna go over here to these. So this is the figures he was talking about. Okay, I'm showing it on Facebook first. I know it's cutting half off on YouTube. So this is figure 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. And if you got the book, you can look at it in detail a little bit later. But he also gives if you have the Kindle version of this, you should have it. But if you have the audio version of this, the charts and everything, the illustrations in this book is included in a separate PDF if you've only purchased the Audible of this book. That way you don't miss out on anything. Okay. Figures 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3 show 3 examples of a regularly occurring continuous change between non-uniform and uniform states. A precisely occurring event might eventually be used to invent time, the first tick-tock, 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 as it were. But before we could reasonably expect something as advanced as uniform vibration or oscillation, Ayo has a lot more evolving yet to accomplish. Considering biological evolution on Earth, one would say that one-celled critters discovered multi-cell configurations were more effective, or later discovered that cell specialization provided a more efficient multi-celled organism. Here I am using the word discovered in the evolutionary sense. Such discoveries are not necessarily well-defined events. They are more typically diffused happenings that occur over long periods of time after huge numbers of more or less random internal experiments have been evaluated for profitability, improved survivability for bioorganisms, or lower entropy for consciousness organisms. Let me see. I guess we can finish this. This is actually, it's like a page, probably like a full page left. So we're going to finish it. This is how short this chapter is. Okay. The continuing evolution of Ayo requires more and more complexity in the ways that Ayo might express differentiation of one part of itself relative to another. What are its opportunities, the possibilities for dualizing? There are many ways Ayo could change state and then change back. Here are a few of the simplest ways. Ayo could, for example, discover dualization in a bipolar as well as unipolar mode. The unipolar mode, uniform, positive disturbance, uniform, positive disturbance, uniform, and so on, could be in the form of, it says sin brackets WT, shown in figure 2.1. Okay, so yeah. Hold on. Okay, let me read that again. And I'll show you the chart again and read what it says in the chart. Okay. Ayo could, for example, discover dualization in a bipolar as well as a unipolar mode. The unipolar mode, uniform, positive disturbance, uniform, positive disturbance, uniform, and so on, could be in the form of sin WT, shown in figure 2.1, right? Show you figure 2.1 again. And it says, a single time quantum, the minimum time increment, also the minimum time required to change the state of one cell from a non-distortion uniform state to a maximum distortion state. Note that 2 time quanta are required to complete one cycle. So it's uniform 2, like you have the uniform or the piece, and you have the positive disturbance. You need 2 in order to complete one cycle, right? It has to be 2. It has to be opposites, something that's not the same. Y'all get it, right? Okay. Or perhaps sin WT plus 1 divided by 2, or sin to the second power brackets WT. Yeah, I know I said that math all wrong, but bear with me. It's talking about figure 2.2. It could also be in the form of a linear sawtooth figure 2.2 or any number of other useful forms. And so that's the chart for 2.2 again. Let's look at it again. And then I read what's down here. A single time quantum, the minimum time increment. Also, the minimum time required to change the state of one cell from a non-distortion or uniform state to a maximum distortion state. Note that 2 time quanta are required to complete one cycle. Ayo could also oscillate between positive and negative disturbances states: uniform positive disturbance, uniform negative disturbance, uniform positive disturbance, uniform negative disturbance, uniform, and so on. This type of oscillation is called bipolar and could, for example, be in the form of sin WT as shown in figure 2.3. Here, the words positive and negative represent opposite disturbances such as good, bad, hot, cold, more, less, sharp, dull, bright, dim, acid, base, hungry, full, thought, no thought, or whatever suits Ayo's nature and newly found sensibilities. Notice I avoided using spatial opposites such as here, there, up, down, and in and out, because space is not a native construct of Ayo and has not yet been discovered by Ayo. So here's the third chart, 2.3. Then I'll read what it says. In this chart, a single time quantum, the minimum time increment, also the minimum time required to change the state of one cell from a non-distortion uniform state to a maximum distortion state. Note that 4 time quanta are required to complete one cycle. This is the last little paragraph, y'all. If math, trigonometry functions such as sin, WT, or, you know what? I didn't make it to trigonometry. So it's sin and WT is in brackets, or then it has the 2 straight lines. But between these 2 straight lines is sin, also with WT in brackets, right? Okay. If math, trigonometry functions such as sin WT or brackets sin WT are not a part of your everyday reality, do not be concerned. They are not particularly important to understanding the binary nature of disturbed versus not disturbed. I use them here only to demonstrate the wide range of simple as well as complex possibilities that Ayo could employ to define this versus that, and because the logical side of Mother Nature seems to be partial to sinusoids, that Ayo, similarly to the primordial biological cells of our planet, somehow evolves to become dimly aware that it can affect changes in its state is the main message here. The details of how it changes state are not important to the conceptual big picture being painted. Ayo is now at a level that is analogous to the one-celled or few-celled organisms floating in the primordial soup that represents our planet's biological beginnings. In fact, in honor of this analogy, let's call this singular relative disturbance in Ayo a reality cell. As the fundamental process dictates, awareness, however dim, always creates ever more possibilities for itself to explore. Likewise, complexity, however simple, always generates greater possibilities for the evolving entity to investigate. Thus, as evolution would have it, Ayo eventually discovers it can simultaneously create two disturbances relative to its seemingly infinite uniformity, then three, then four, then hundreds, then billions, then, after all, an approximately infinite, practically unbounded oneness should be easily managed and support quantity far beyond our comprehension. We ourselves are composed of billions upon billions of cells. Continuing our analogy with biological systems, Ayo is now at a stage of a huge multi-celled but still very simple behemoth. Here a cell, there a cell, everywhere a cell. Reality cell, that is, but no structure, no order, no specialization of function yet. Growth in the type and number of reality cells should be sufficiently challenging for a long time because each increment of growth creates new possibilities for new configurations of the larger system. Likewise, each new state of the system represents new possibilities and opportunities for growth, awareness, complexity, and useful control with the number of potential states or possibilities Ayo can profitably explore, reach through evolution. What happens next? Ayo is about to get organized. And that, my beautiful people, is the end of chapter 26. Okay. So see how it's still kind of lining up with what we're reading from the Annunaki Bible. It's still talking about the beginnings, but this is talking about the beginnings of the great creator, how everything is working itself out. They're not claiming to know everything, but based on everything that they test and prove, also with the experiments with our own bodies and consciousness, it's making things a whole lot more clear. And we still got 2 more books to get into. We just like at the beginning stages of life, beginning here on earth for us, right? Okay, so we're still trying to understand it all. Oh, thank you, mathematician Belinda Brown. In mathematics, sin is pronounced as sign. Is it sign? I see it's S-I-N-E. Is it sign? It's not sin. Sign. Like that sign says hello. Is that? As in a sine wave. Oh, I should have read your next. Okay, duh. Okay, as in a sine wave. Okay, thank you, Dana. Okay, I'm slow, y'all. Forgive me. Y'all know I still need help with Roman numerals. How did they think I was going to get this in trigonometry, right? How did y'all give me 6 children? Okay, watch out, boo. All right, y'all. So that's it. I appreciate the help. Thank you. Look, and none of my kids have gotten to trigonometry yet. Like my older ones, if they want to get into it, I don't know where is that. Girl, if you don't turn that thing down, I thought that was y'all screaming. Okay. All right, but if they want to learn trigonometry, that's something they're going to have to take up after they're done with their schooling with me. I am not the teacher to teach that.
Mom.
Yes, babe.
I can take Josh's ice cream and then have one.
No, stop trying to eat his ice cream.
Mom.
You can't have it just because he decided not to eat it yet. He hasn't abandoned his ice cream. Give it back. All right, beautiful people. That's it for today. It is Friday, March the 4th, 2022, day 46 of year 4, reading through the book. Day 1064 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. We have, stop girl so I can see what I wrote. We read all of Tablet G in the complete Annunaki Bible. That's pages 118 through 125. And then we read all of chapter 26 in My Big Toe, pages 213 to 218. All right, y'all. And I'm going to go back and get Noah's name from the Lost Book of Enki, because in the complete Annunaki Bible, his name is Aces and Haces. Yes.
When we go to karate, you can let me get some ice cream and Josh don't get one.
I don't know. I think about it, but we don't have karate today. We got karate tomorrow, though. We don't have karate today. All right. All right, beautiful people. With that being said, thank you for hanging out. We gotta do a new blessing today, too. You want to do it? You want to do it? No, you want to have a little attitude? Okay, beautiful people. Oh, great spirit, yeah. I just love the way y'all do that. All right, so Father, thank you for all the wisdom that you are imparting into us as we are understanding this raw data and facts, and it's transforming into true understanding and the wisdom that we apply.
Mom, you didn't put on
down.
the Vaseline.
What?
You didn't put on the Vaseline.
Yeah, I know. See, you've been MIA. Mom. You've been MIA. Okay, y'all back. Sorry, y'all. She hit the button. She took y'all out.
Mom. No.
Stop.
No.
Hold on. All right, Facebook. I'm sorry. Just keep clicking y'all off. I gotta be careful. Okay. All right, beautiful people. I love y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out. God bless you.
I did the blessing.
Good night.
Me and Zay did the blessing.
All right, y'all. I'll see y'all back here tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m. because it's Saturday. On the weekends, remember, it's 7:30 a.m. So see y'all back here tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bruce. All right, sweetie. Go ahead and end that.
We didn't do the blessing.
I did. We adjusted it. That's what I was saying before you click Facebook off. We adjusted it.
No.
I
never get to do it.
Because this is not your thing, son. All right, sweetie, go ahead and end it.
Zay.
Right here.
Zay, you can click this one. I click this one.
Well, click this one. Zay, you can click this one. All right, y'all. You got to do it with your finger.